Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the 2023 season where training camp is here. Aidan, football has begun. The Eagles are in camp. The Cowboys are in camp. And all 32 NFL teams are officially in camp. We have football. How are you? Because I don't
Fantastic.
want to tell you how I am, besides having football.
Okay. So you're tired, but think about it. Football, it's like that when you're tired in March, there's nothing to latch onto. When you're down in April, there's nothing. But during football season, you always have this release from reality that is football, and I am so excited that we're here.
I am too, and you are correct. I mean, I haven't slept in 4 days. I've had a flat tire this week. I dropped my gallon water jug at the gym today, exploded everywhere. So yeah, we're having a good week, but I get to
broke
watch
my
Deuce
ankle.
Vaughn just cut up and make people look silly. So that's fun.
Can you franchise tag a running back in his rookie year? Is that allowed, or are the
I
Cowboys
think
going to
so.
try? How's that work?
They might have to pull the tag on Pollard and just tag the rookie for no reason.
I had a question about the running back position, but we can do that at any point during the offseason. Before we get too far, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe. There's probably a whole bunch of people on Spotify and Apple who are listening to this and they're like, where the hell were these guys? Well, that's because we were doing YouTube videos all summer preparing for this moment, but we're back. Audio, video, anywhere you can find us. Make sure to follow us where you can. And then
I will
we'll
say,
talk about the football.
even the great people like at DallasCowboys.com and other places, they take a hiatus, right? They walk away from the podcasts during the dead weeks, during the dead period when, after mini camp until training camp hits. Not us. We make videos, we do shows every week because we are here for you, the people, and we are here to deliver the football to you.
The video I did yesterday, check it out on YouTube, the early shining stars of Eagles training camp. It was so nice to just be able to go on Twitter and like not scour the depths of the internet to find a story to talk about and
Yes.
just be like, okay, here's a tweet. Okay, here's a story. Okay, here's a headline and just figure it out in 5 minutes what you're going to talk about instead of being like, God, what are we in June when it's like, all right, it's 90 degrees. There's no sport that matters right now. Baseball hasn't even begun to be important. And football
Baseball's
is
dead.
so far out of the question that this is brutal. But now we're here. We're into training camp. Should we talk about other people's training camps first or talk about ourselves? I think
we could talk.
For you
let's talk others.
Okay. The moral of the story, a lot of people are excited training camp back. There's a lot of franchise fans who probably aren't so excited because of the injuries that have occurred.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. Oh no.
Brutal. I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often, like on the second day, because you're not used to being stretched out. Okay, that sounded weird. His calf muscles.
There we go. Being stretched out.
Your calves and hamstrings are tight and not stretched out.
And then all of a sudden, boom, stretched to pieces. But when I saw that video, I was like, oh, it's one of those like, oh, no videos. So what is the latest that you've heard?
Pulled his calf muscle.
So that's about a 4 to 6 week injury at least, because that's also Donovan Wilson, the Cowboys safety, did the same thing day one of training camp yesterday, and he is out 4 to 6 weeks.
Makes sense though, right? Like you probably haven't been going. I mean, all these guys work out, but you're not working out in the way that you would in training camp. And then it's like, all right, it's day one, it's day two. Now your body's not used to it. And then you cramp up, you tighten up, you strain a muscle. So the good thing there is he's torn his ACL twice. You tear it 3 times, you start to question like, okay, what are we going to do for the next 10 years with you? Because as good as he is, nobody after like 3 ACL tears, or you're like, yeah, this is going somewhere good.
This is a good thing. I mean, one day you're at the white party, right, with every celebrity and athlete known to man, and then you blink and now you're stretched out.
Stretched. Joe Burrow and that Adam 22 guy's wife stretched out on the internet.
I just, I do feel bad for Bengals fans, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like they've had so much suffering, so much misery. They finally have this team that legitimately could win the Super Bowl. A team that Patrick Mahomes has only beaten once, right? They have their
Yeah.
number overall. They can beat Buffalo. They can go through that gauntlet of an AFC, and now you see something like this.
I would say all three teams that have major injuries. So the other two were Garrett Wilson, again, came up limping, and then uh, Jalen Ramsey on the
Mhm.
Dolphins is having surgery. He won't be out all season. His ACL's intact, but he did hurt his knee. And I'd say all three of those teams, this is the part of the year. Those three teams really haven't had a ton of football success in our lifetimes. And
Yep.
if you're a fan of all three of those teams, you're like, this could be our year. So for it to be week one of training camp and to have stars leave camp with injuries, you got to be like, here we go again. Like, what was the point? Which is the worst feeling in the world. Like,
Yep.
I don't want any franchise to ever feel that way. For it to be July and you're like, all right, this is just another year where it sucks.
It's miserable. I've seen it as a Cowboys fan. You've seen it as an Eagles
Mm-hmm.
fan. Big guys, big names go down early, and it's demoralizing, especially like what we were just saying in the beginning. We're finally here, right? You finally have that hope, you have that joy, and to have that ripped away so quickly. Now, Joe Burrow is going to be okay. It's a
Yeah.
calf strain, like you said. He didn't tear his ACL for the third time. He'll be back for the opening game, but it just is such a setback for
Yeah.
the entire team. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like he'll probably be ready week one, but barely. And that's
Mhm.
annoying to deal with all offseason instead of like 4 weeks, 5 weeks of getting your timing down with your receivers. And
Exactly.
again, like I feel like I could probably throw to Jamar Chase and not need that much timing, but it still exists. So it's just like a bad way to start the season.
Even
And
the
it's my
cadence with the offensive line,
yep,
like
especially their offensive line. I don't know if there's any cadence that can save that group.
and they invested too last offseason, which is the crazy
Niall
part.
Collins.
Mhm.
Legend.
Maybe the
Cowboys legend.
Joneses weren't so wrong.
They were not.
Hmm.
If we could just get the Jones family to stop franchise tagging running backs, you guys would be in excellent shape. They draft well. They usually give out pretty good contracts. We just need them to stop franchise tagging running backs, and I think they'll
And
be
stop
fine.
talking.
And stop talking. That's yeah. Oh my god. I started watching
Stop talking. Stop
Succession.
talking on the radio 12 times a week.
Yes, honestly, like he's the only one who does that.
Yes.
I started watching Succession, and Jerry Jones just reminds me of the old dad. I'm only in season
Mhm.
one, so I don't really know what happens. But season one, where he's like an obnoxious prick who runs everything
Yep.
and who's like going senile, Jerry Jones, right? Like they're the same.
He does seem like somebody
Logan
that
and
would be
Jerry Jones.
fun to be around though. Like he literally, all the media is out in Oxnard, California right now for training camp. He literally throws like the biggest party at Nobu for all the media members.
Dude, we got to go to Oxnard. I would go, even though I don't cover the team. Like
Yeah.
technically 50% do, but all of our guys are out there. Every
Yeah.
video I see is
And
all the people are on the show.
I was listening to my show this morning, Sean and RJ. They 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 are
Both
they're on the
RJs are out
radio starting at 3 a.m. California time.
there. Okay, I lied.
And the entire first 30 minutes of the show was just talking about how hungover they all are because they drank way too much yesterday. That was the
Were they
entire.
at that party?
No, the party didn't happen yet. That's next week. They were just at some bar on the beach.
I could do that. We could do that. If that
Yes,
was
we
our
could.
job, I
Yep.
think we could be all right.
Yep. I think
We
we'd be
should
fine.
we have the means and the people at this point and the resources that you and I could go to Oxnard, California for a
Yes.
few days and cover the team
And handle. Yep.
and handle it and drink on the beach. I feel like I could thrive.
Another question for you. Have you watched Quarterback?
No, I don't know if I plan to. Now that
Because
like
you can't
football's back,
handle how it's going to end.
yeah, I know how to. Yeah. God, that video yesterday where they showed Jason Kelsey crying the night before the Super Bowl, and then showing him like hugging Lane Johnson after the Super Bowl, I started to cry. So
So
no,
is that the reason you don't want to watch it? Or
no, it's just I understand the appeal. And I like how they chose different angles with like a very solidified, medium solidified, and not solidified at all quarterback who's now on our team. It still just doesn't do that much for me.
it's
Like I
so
don't.
good.
Is it? You liked it?
It's so good.
Who was the best of the three quarterbacks? Who did you gravitate towards the most?
Mariota's extremely boring, but seems like a nice guy.
Okay.
Mahomes is just an alpha male in every sense of the way. I loved every aspect of they continued in every episode showing his like pregame routine, and then he goes and kisses his wife and daughter, and his brother's there, and it's just like, what's up? Like, doesn't acknowledge him. I loved every second of that. He hates
Yeah.
his brother. Um, and I will tell you, opening the show, Kirk Cousins seemed like the biggest dork, but as the show went on and you see the amount of work that he puts in and how good he wants to be and the person he is, I think he was the biggest winner from this entire show. I'm not going to lie.
I've heard that from a few people now, that he comes out like, you think of him as this big dork who doesn't win big
Mm-hmm.
games, and then you watch that and you see his preparation, and it's like, well, it's not
He
because of
does,
lack of
and it's
effort.
pretty funny because he talks about it, like he's open about the not winning primetime games, but he was like laughing because he has this huge room in his house with like all his like accolades and every game ball that he's won. He's like, I got a lot of these Sunday night football game balls here. It means I gotta have played good a little bit on night games,
Mm,
and it was pretty funny, Howie. So
that is good. I will say though, I get the like I said, I get the appeal of the show. I've heard it's pretty good. I'm very glad that both of our quarterbacks were like, no thanks, not going to be on it,
that was my
right?
next question. Are you glad Hurt said no? And are there any? Well, you haven't even watched this one. I was going to ask you: are there any quarterbacks you would like to see on it?
Okay, so I'm ecstatic that Jalen Hurts said no. I don't want Hard Knocks around. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
Netflix around.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts just gets it more than any Philly athlete I think I've ever had in my lifetime, where everything he does is just like understanding PR, understanding the work ethic that's required, never raising, like, never in the headlines for a reason that is even slightly controversial.
Yep.
Everything he does is to a T good PR. So
Yep.
I'm very ecstatic that he's not on there. How about you? Because I know Dak also
Yeah,
said,
I'm would I love to actually see it after the fact and be able to? I always love watching, things about my team, yes, but I just don't want him going through that, the team going through that. But I was thinking about, who, like I said, I enjoyed this so much, and I really do think you should watch it. And I'm thinking like, okay, who would I want to see in next season? Tua said no. Also, Justin Fields, I believe, said no, and he was somebody on my list that I think I would like to see on there. He seems like a cool dude. Chicago's a cool town. They're building something in Chicago, so he's someone I would
Mhm.
like. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to take him off the table because he's on Hard Knocks. So some other guys I was thinking, I think Jared Goff would be very interesting just to see that
yes,
dynamic. I know they were on Hard Knocks last year, but they're kind
yeah,
of everybody's baby this year. I really would like to see the rehab process and if he's going to be back when a Kyler Murray, if he would be on there.
it's
I
a good
think he
one.
would be interesting. And I would like one of the rookie quarterbacks too. Maybe either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud would be very interesting too.
Anthony Richardson would be another one
Anthony Richardson
in
would be a great one.
Indianapolis.
Yep.
I would throw in Lamar Jackson. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's in an interesting point in his career, and it would be kind of cool to see behind the scenes with him. So
And
that'd
I
be
would
the other
also maybe throw in Jimmy Garoppolo just to see how much he pulls in Las Vegas.
one. Oh
Big
yeah,
Packer brain.
Netflix. The producers at Netflix would be like, okay, like, are we allowed to air all of this?
Guys, this is like this on the phone with the head of Netflix. Yeah, we're just making a porn over here.
Yeah, like this season was like Kirk Cousins like bath time with his kids after the playoff
Literally.
game, and the producers was like, yeah, he's like at a strip club like in Las Vegas. Do you want this footage?
That's awesome. That would be great. But yeah, I watch the first episode and see what it does to you. And I would possibly avoid the last one though.
God, I wonder what happens. Don't spoil
Yeah.
it.
My wife sat through it the other. She's like, "Why are you making me watch this?" I go, "You're just sitting on the couch. You're watching it." But at the same time, you remember both her and I had norovirus. So she's like watching it through. We were throwing up the whole Super Bowl. I was,
Oh yeah.
and she had like just finished throwing up, but she was dead. She was watching, like it showed a lot of the game. She's like, I don't even remember that. She's like, I don't even remember it being
I
tied towards the end.
I was talking about this with somebody because they showed the replay on NFL Network, and I was like, I don't remember this drive at all, and I feel like it's just because I blacked it out of my memory. I've never went back and rewatched it because I think I handled it pretty well. And if I
Mm-hmm.
went back and rewatched it, I think I'd handle it a lot worse. So I've just
Yep.
never rewatched it. I pretended it
Yep.
didn't happen.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard rewatching situations like that.
Damn, so close, man, so close. But we can come back again this year and
Mm-hmm.
be the first team since the '70s to make it to back-to-back Super Bowls. Actually, one of the last teams to do it was the Cowboys, 70-71, to lose the
Yep.
Super Bowl and make it back. So we'll see if we do it this year. Do you care if I go first with training camp headlines? I think I'll have a lot less because we've only practiced one day. Today was just a
Go for it.
walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked about it on my show, but it's very good to see that all three Georgia defensive linemen already standing out. Jordan Davis came in better shape. Nolan Smith's coming off the edge, better shape, best shape of his life. There was another Zeke video. I sent that to you.
Mm-hmm.
What are the noise? We talked about this, but the
I,
noises that
it,
people don't run like that.
so it's like he's making the noises, but then the dude
The
behind the camera,
trainer.
whoever's like coaching him, is like making even more noise.
Why? Yeah, you're not even doing the drill. You're just holding the camera.
When do you think he's on a team?
Whenever Dallas calls.
Fair enough.
Fair.
Do you think
Yeah.
he plays again
Yes.
on another team?
I have a prediction for you. The Cowboys sign Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt.
Yes, because I think they need another running back. Because it's so funny because Tony Pollard, we were shouting from the rooftops to give him a
For
bigger
2 years.
workload. Now he's like a 3-down back coming off a compound fractured leg injury, and we're like, okay, maybe like less of a workload.
Who's never
Like,
done
whoa,
it
whoa,
before
whoa, too
either.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. And Deuce Vaughn's 4 pounds.
Mhm.
Ronald Jones is there, but it's
Mm,
Ronald Jones.
exactly.
And then they have two other guys that I think can carry the load in Malik Davis and Rico Dowdle, but Rico never stays healthy and Malik's only in his second year. So I mean, yes, I would like to see how Ronald Jones is like the first week 2 in camp. If he's not pulling his weight, if the other guys aren't, I would be fine with calling one of these vets that are out there.
And I think the reason I say this is I think Kareem Hunt would not cost a lot. He's used
Mm-hmm.
to being in that backup role behind Nick Chubb. So he's not going to come in. Like, I think if you bring Zeke back and you're like, all right, you're the backup now, like that's just a weird dynamic in the locker room after he was
Yep.
such a high paid player, first round pick for that team and one of the leaders in the locker room. So I feel like it's just weird if he goes into a backup role. But Kareem Hunt does the same kind of thing. And he's already done it for Cleveland behind Nick Chubb. I think it would be less weird. And I don't know. That just feels like it'd be a more
I'd
efficient
be
move
in
for
on
him.
that.
There
That'd be
you go.
good. Appreciate it.
And,
Thank you.
and it's only a matter of time, right? Till Dalvin Cook's a Jet.
Jet, you think?
Yeah,
Not the
I'm
Dolphins?
Jetsed out, by the way.
Oh, done.
It's July.
I almost have no interest in this Hard Knocks, especially because they're like, yeah, they don't really have much access. So it's basically just going to be training camp videos on Twitter.
Yep. And I love how everybody was so hype about the promo, and I get it because like Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, like imagine watching that on a day-to-day basis. It can't, but I'm like, yeah, but I feel like you can just get this as it is, you know?
Literally, we watch it on Twitter or X.
Yeah. That's not behind the scenes. That's just like a regular training camp video that we get from every beat reporter. So
That's it. I'm
I
good.
yeah, I think
I'd much rather see Dalvin in the Jets or on the Dolphins, but
maybe
I mean that's where he's from. Went to high school in Miami.
I just know he had the meeting with the Jets, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
this just feels like it makes sense. And they restructured Aaron Rodgers this week.
Yep, $35 million pay cut.
Wow. But yeah, I think he'll end up in the AFC East in some sort. That's an interesting division. We'll do that later. We'll have our prediction.
Every division.
Yeah, of course. Every year we do that, and it's the most engagement we get on TikTok every year. Because then there's like, if you and I choose the Chargers to win this division this year, we should be electrocuted.
Yep, it's not. No, I will tell you right now, I will not. Nope. Mm-mm.
Oh,
not even a
this
wild
reminds
card
me, AFC West. More people should be like Sean Payton and just tell it like it is.
Yes.
I think if you're just blunt and honest, like I believe you more that Russell Wilson can come back and be a productive quarterback this year by how you were talking. Like, listen, he was dealing with the worst coaching staff in the league. They couldn't even do something elementary like get the plays in. I forgot how bad that got, that the fans were counting down the play clock.
Literally.
So
Remember
I
that?
believe it more now.
I also forgot that it was only this past year the Melvin Gordon picture looking at Russ. Like, it
that
seems like it was so long ago.
that and the Peyton Manning, Eli Manning Monday Night Football show that they do, and nobody could figure out how they were handling the 2-minute drill, and they lost like 50 seconds and then call a timeout, and they didn't know what to say.
It's awesome.
And they were
But
like panicked.
speaking of the chart, we're gonna need a joint team this year, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
Ooh. Do you have any early
Not the
candidates?
Jets,
Not the
not the
Jets.
Chargers,
It cannot be the Chargers.
not the 49ers.
The opposite. They are the Antichrist.
I think I have like a sneaky one for us.
NFC or AFC?
NFC.
Do we play them, our division?
Hold on. I don't think so.
Okay, that helps. I think I have an idea who it is. And I guess our schedules are a little bit different, but we play the NFC.
Oh, yes. Cowboys do play them.
You do play them? Okay, I have a good idea who it is then.
Who?
Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
Boom. Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
I'm in. Bryce Young.
Oh, man.
Yep.
He'd be good
I think they're going to be sneakily better than people think.
I do too. I'm okay with that being our team.
Them or the Bears?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll flip a coin later in the season. Well, let's see how the camps go.
We'll flip a coin. Yeah. But I'm with you. I would definitely do Panthers.
Perfect. Man.
100%. Cool.
Man.
Training camp. Eagles did it. It was sloppy the first day. I am okay with their strategy. Again, the injuries that you're seeing come out, and the Eagles do really light practices. I'm very much okay with that. And it's nice to see the Georgia guys playing well, because I think that I don't think people realize, like, it's so funny they drafted a bunch of Georgia guys. Yeah. They all have to like be really good this year, and I don't think people realize that. Like the linebackers actually played well yesterday, but I think that's a pretty weak link in the defense. So Nakobe Dean is going from like backup linebacker to calling the defense, and probably needs to lead the team in tackles.
Imagine that jump as a human being in one season.
I cannot imagine, which again is a little bit concerning. Like, I don't think people realize, like, oh yeah, this is so great. Like, Jalen Carter looked good on day one. Yet he needs to, like, he has to line up next to Fletcher Cox and get the majority of the snap count at the defensive tackle position. Like,
there's no choice in the matter here. Young guns have to perform for this team.
Yeah, and like Jordan Davis, another one. Like, yeah, oh, it's good that he's in good shape. Yeah. Like,
I would hope so.
Linval Joseph and Sue are gone. Like, he has to be in good shape. He has to play.
Yep. He is the guy now.
Yeah.
The honeymoon's over.
I was gonna say, it's I love it. So it's good that you are getting good reviews so far. But at the same time, yeah, that's exactly what's expected and what's needed if this team is going to succeed on defense. So that is good to see. And they really haven't done much. And I just want to say I'm okay with this strategy. It's totally fine with me. Don't push it in training camp and get somebody hurt. And the Rashad Penny thing at running back, like, he's not RB1. Like, he might have gotten the first carry, but this is a carousel. So just be careful if you're into fantasy football. Yeah.
Come on, it's the Eagles. It's Sirianni. We know how the running back position is going to go.
You're going to see a different guy each series. 3 different ones. Speaking of the running game, they were talking about Jalen Hurts on a fantasy football podcast I listened to, the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, and just the hilarious Jalen Hurts fantasy stats. This one isn't technically fantasy, but it stuck out. Jalen Hurts threw 60 fourth quarter passes last year, which means he played 15 games because he got hurt and missed 2. So 60 divided by 15, he threw 4 passes per game in the fourth quarter. And to put it in perspective, Baker Mayfield threw more passes in the fourth quarter and wasn't even a starter through the whole season.
He probably almost threw more in that big Rams win that he had the first game that he was there.
the Rams signed him off the street in like
Yep.
November, December, and he threw more fourth quarter passes than Jalen Hurts because we were just winning so many
That's
games.
that's that
Ridiculous.
shows you that's winning football.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just pound the rock and get out of there.
Hmm.
So that was just so funny to me. I was laughing at that. But that's enough for Eagles training camp. Not too much going on so far, but good to be back. Cowboys training camp. We'll be there next year. But what's going on
Yes,
this year?
we will be in Oxnard. So first thing, some of the injuries, right? We talked about Donovan Wilson already, starting safety, who they just re-signed on a new contract and who they need healthy. He's an absolute missile for this defense. Tweaked his his calf. They're saying 4 to 6 weeks. I'm guessing that's more of a closer to 6 weeks. As long as he can get into a couple practices, I think he'll be good for the Giants game opening up. Our guy, Israel McQuamu, same thing. Tweaked his hamstring. He's out multiple weeks too.
What?
Jordan Lewis starting the season on PUP for training camp, so he's not out there. Something that I am concerned about, Aidan, I think the Cowboys do have a deep tight end room. You know, Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot, they're there. However, second round pick, tight end Luke Schoonmaker from Michigan is on the unable to play football list because
Oof.
of a injury that predates his time with the Dallas Cowboys. Is apparently his plantar fasciitis in his foot is worse
Mm-mm.
than they expected. He's still in a boot. No good.
Oh, where's my boot? Oh man, I would have grabbed it. I feel your pain, brother. Took it
Mm-hmm.
off, but
So that's very concerning because he's somebody that I think this team is expecting to make an impact this year, whether it be in the pass game or the run game. He's also an older player. He was at Michigan for about 12 years, I feel like. So
COVID year, man. These kids are like
older
26.
player, possibly drafted higher than people thought, and now has still a lingering injury concerns. That equals disaster.
So they knew about this plantar fasciitis
But I
situation
think it
when
is
they
much
drafted.
worse than anybody assumed.
Not good.
And the
Not
Cowboys
a
are
good
usually
start.
pretty good at off-season injury uh, scoops with drafting. So I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
that's something. That's a little fishy, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the
So,
Cowboy side. On the other side, that's weird.
that's scaring me. Hopefully the young buck can get out there soon. I think Mike McCarthy said he is hoping he gets to practice at Oxnard. So don't love that.
Oh,
Um,
what?
yeah,
Okay,
not
yeah,
good.
that's not good.
Not good. The biggest question mark, I guess you could say, and thing that I'm watching right now and through all of training camp is the offensive line, right? I would
Hmm.
say it's not 2016 anymore, but this line does have a chance to be solid and good if it's healthy, right? So starting out, we know Zach Martin's not there. It's going to get done. They will get a deal done. He will be back. He'll be the right guard this season. I don't know if it's going to be his last season, if he'll have 2 years left, but I think we are definitely on the closer to the end of the back nine for Zach Martin's career, which is scary. So the way they've been playing it, Terrence Steele, their right tackle towards ACL last year, was cleared. He's good to go. He is in the starting rotation to start training camp. So they've had Terrence Steele at right tackle. They've been playing Josh Ball at guard to start for Zach Martin, which scares the hell out of me. I hope he doesn't even make this team. He's a terrible football player. Might be a nice human being, terrible football player. Actually, I don't even think he's a good human being. I think he came out of Marshall and he had like domestic violence in his background or something. So not even a good person.
Not good at all.
Tyler Biotish at center, and then they have been playing Tyler Smith at guard and Tyron Smith back at left tackle. So I'm assuming Tyron's going to play about 3 drives and get hurt against the Giants, and then I'm sure they'll bump Tyler Smith out to tackle. But I'm really interested to see the other offensive lineman who's going to fill that swing tackle. I really liked what Matt Waletzko was doing in camp last year before he got hurt. They drafted out of North Dakota last year, not North Dakota State, North Dakota. He's a huge mammoth of a person. And then they got a guy, TJ Bass, who I thought was absolutely getting drafted. He can play guard. He's from Oregon. They got him in the undrafted free agency. He's already making an impact. So I'm really interested and I'm invested in this offensive line.
Uh The left side seems pretty solidified.
The law firm of Smith and Smith.
Smith and Smith, correct. You just need him to stay healthy. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Zach Martin aside, if you could just get Tyron to be like healthier than a game,
Yep.
you're in pretty good shape.
Yep.
But that just seems like a, lost cause.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see. But that is like you said, you've been harping on this, and now I think it's now highlighted to the point that it should be highlighted because Zach Martin's not there. That the offensive line is a point of concern.
They're going to have to invest. And then they got guys like Austin Richards, who has a great name. We'll see who is going to. I think it's going to be a deep offensive line. I think they're going to carry 10, 11 guys. So, and the same with the defensive line. And all the quotes coming out of how fast this defense looks, how they have a chance to be a top 3 defensive unit that Stephon Gilmore pickup is kind of like that put them over the top, kind of a chance to put them over the top kind of move, which I think they needed. So they've been doing 7-on-7s. They're not doing a lot. There's no pads on. So we really have to wait till those things happen to see how they're doing. But 2 last things that are being noticed. One is Brandon Cooks. If you watch the video, the speed that he brings, the gait that he runs with, how he can take the top off the defense. He took the top off the defense today, and Dak Prescott just dropped it in the bucket for a long touchdown. And that's something that, as Cowboy fans, we really haven't seen much of lately. And to see that 30. And then hear the crowd oohing and ahhing, it was just like, yep. And again, for the offensive side of the ball, that's that take you over to the next level type move with Brandon Cooks.
I think it helps CeeDee Lamb so much to have somebody who's somewhat competent next to him, who, like you said, has the speed to threaten safeties and just kind of open up the middle of the field for CD to operate. And whether they line him up in the slot, outside, whatever it may be, it helps him a ton. So I think that's just, it's not only the production that Cooks will bring, it's the production that he will allow CeeDee Lamb to have.
And then last takeaway from training camp day 1 yesterday, Dak Prescott looking efficient, looking good, except has 2 picks. And I don't know if you saw the first, like the main pick, last week or the week before, there were the conversations of not throwing 10 picks. And what was that all based around, Aidan? It was based around it.
Not 10, tipped, not 10.
And did you see the video?
I did. It went right off the guy's hands.
Literally, it was a slant pass. It was perfect. I believe it went through his hands, hit himself in the face mask, bounced up right into Eric Scott, the rookie cornerback that they drafted for a pick. So it's like, all right, here we go. We're right back to where we were. So I know. And
good to be back, baby.
And all of this, again, it's day 1. Dak looked good, but all reports were that after that tipped interception, Cooper Rush had the practice of his life. It was just moving the offense up and down the field. So
of course.
That.
So you don't need Carson Wentz at all. You already have a ginger who can run the offense.
How about that?
Yeah.
Do you think he plays this year?
Yeah, for the Rams.
For the Rams.
Yeah. I know he worked out for them already. I'm a little bit worried about Matthew Stafford, and I'm a little bit not worried, just like his elbow's messed up, and I know his wife has cancer again. It's just like, is football...
Is that confirmed? 100%. I saw that she said that she thought she did.
Oh, she doesn't. That would be fantastic.
Well, she said on a podcast that in her gut, she feels like she has it again, but in her stomach. So I didn't see confirmation that she actually had it again.
I don't know. But regardless, I think he would be in a backup role in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, people have talked about bringing him in. You just signed Cooper Rush, right? Again, we saw he won 5 games last year. I don't think there's a reason to bring in a guy like Carson Wentz.
It'd be funny.
It would be hilarious, and it would be full circle. He would then have to, right? Somehow, like next year, just have some kind of role in the Giants.
Yeah, so back up Daniel Jones next year. Yep. That'd be very funny.
It'd be hilarious.
If he just
I would almost do it as just a troll job if I were him at that point.
Yeah. Like, what do you have to lose if you're him? Just sign anywhere and just do it for the vibes.
I would actually call the Giants, like, hey guys, listen, I'll take vet minimum. I need to at least just sign the dotted line. Put me in a put me in the uniform for a couple days, and then I'll go on IR or something if you don't want me.
Yeah, just let me do that, and just give me something to do until hunting season starts.
Exactly. All praise to Jesus.
All praise. Our audience of one.
But yeah, we are, like we said, it's very beginning of camp. There are some injuries. There are some highlights. The Deuce Vaughn highlight, he looks hilarious, but
He's
fast
so
and
small.
quick, and he's so small.
He reminds me of Sproles, though.
Yes,
I will say that.
That's what I said to my wife. He is the next Darren Sproles. I think he's going to have a fit on this offense. And I know for a fact, day 2 of training camp, they were working a lot on getting the ball to the running backs through the air. And that's something that the Cowboys have struggled with in recent years. So hopefully he helps them in that aspect. But we shall see. We take it day by day in training camp.
Day by day, soon enough, we'll be talking about preseason games. We'll be talking about 53-man rosters. And then we'll be talking about real games.
Do we have a preseason game next Thursday night? I think that's the Hall of Fame game, no?
I think so. Not us, though. We play the next. Our teams play the week after. But there is a Hall of Fame game. Yeah. Can't wait.
And I think that's the Jets.
What a shock!
God, surprise! They're gonna they are going to just be insufferable this year. They're gonna be on our TVs nonstop.
Oh yeah. Well, we are part of the problem. I think we play them in prime time. So sorry.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. It's good to be back.
Feels great.
It feels great.
Make sure, like Aidan said earlier in the show, you are subscribing on our YouTube channel. We are bringing out a ton of clips. Aidan talking Eagles, me talking Cowboys, both of us together talking all NFL and shows. So if you like quick clips, condensed info, head to our YouTube page. We are growing by leaps and bounds even during the dead period. So now that camp is close, football is close, let's get those numbers cranking up. Tell your friends, tell your family. We don't just talk birds. We don't just talk boys. We cover the entire NFL from draft to Super Bowl and everything in between. And make sure you're following us everywhere on the socials, as the kids say. Are we on Twitter or are we on X? I don't know.
Twitter till we die.
Yep, Twitter till we die. Instagram, TikTok, we are everywhere. And we will be back very, very soon to talk, hopefully, nothing but positive, healthy football players.
Think healthy thoughts.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year! This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.